Visit our YouTube channel at Max TV. Click on the subscribe button and be the first to get notifications on our uploads.
Honeywaves Communications Investment Limited, owners and operators of Quest FM 93.1 Ogor-Ughelli and Quest Television Ogor-Ughelli, has organized a roundtable for the human rights community and media practitioners in the Niger Delta to express their opinion on the implications of the Social Media Regulation Bill for Good Governance and National Development. Participants at the roundtable were unanimous in their submission that the proposed law is at variance with the principles of good governance and free speech and should therefore be jettisoned.
The attempt to criminalize hate speech across online platforms was widely condemned and subsequently kept on hold by the 8th Senate. In November 2019, the move to check the spread of hate speech in the country was reintroduced in the National Assembly with provisions of varying degrees of punishment for offenders. In the event of loss of life arising from the spread of hate speech, as it has been widely reported in the Nigerian media, the proposed law prescribes capital punishment for offenders. While x-raying the intent and objectives of the proposed law, participants at the roundtable organized by Honeywave Communications, owners of Quest TV and Quest FM in Ogor-Ughelli, sought more clarifications from sponsors of the bill, insisting that it was a veiled move to gag the press and deny Nigerians their right to free speech.
If you look at the social media, what is going on, you want a law to be promulgated. But the provisions of the hate speech bill is what I am not comfortable with. What I think is that for things like this to come up, there are things like consultations that could be ongoing. You go to the communities, you go everywhere, then bring everybody's voice to the table before we now said, okay, this is actually affecting us. What do we do? Then we come to it.
Today, employments are going on without advertisement. People are being employed into the federal service. You see it in papers, in some of the day, you see it. How do you go about it? They don't want you to say anything about it. And that is the genesis of their proposed bill.
Other speakers at the roundtable equally expressed misgivings over the social media bill, which proposes the establishment of a national commission for the prohibition of hate speech. The move, according to them, was intended to deny Nigerians their right to demand transparent and accountable leadership from the government of the day.
And the bill itself is already its speech against Nigerians. This bill is meant to kill Nigerians. Don't talk. We are not in the military era. If we are sincerely in democracy, let us go with the characters of democracy, signs and symptoms.
Let the government sort out the things that are plaguing us, and there will be no hate speech.
Opponents of the social media bill called on its sponsors in the National Assembly to seek a more generally acceptable and convincing approach to stop hate speech, which they consider counterproductive to Nigeria's national unity and political stability.
We should resist the bill in its entirety. How can we find fulfillment if we don't express ourselves?
What brings hatred? Is it not when there is no justice? So why are we not addressing what brings the hate species, so that hate species will cease to exist? We've got to be very, very careful.
In the wake of a widespread public outcry against the social media bill, the federal government has consistently maintained that it is not intended to deny Nigerians their right to free speech, but to check the divisive and destructive tendencies of enemies of the Nigerian state.
Inside the Niger